Dear white people with dreadlocks, some things to consider. After a black San Francisco State University student confronted a white student over his dreadlock hairstyle, calling it cultural appropriation, people are talking about the topic of white people with dreads. Ooh, this is a touchy subject, and y'all are probably wondering, hey, aren't you white? I'm actually half white and half black, but when they ask me on what is your race, I always put black, because I'm a brother, guys. This photo right here is Adam Kurtz of the Counting Crows. He has admitted his locks are extensions. And this is one notable example. We're gonna look at non-black celebrities that have locks. And is it okay or is it not okay? Is it cultural appropriation? Let's find out. Anne Lamott writes about everything from spirituality to motherhood to her hair in memoirs. Lamott has said she initially felt presumptuous to appropriate a black style for her own liberation. What does she even mean by that? Let's admit, she has some fire locks. You got Jonathan Davis, Annie DeFranco, Jason Castro, Lady Gaga, John Travolta, Lena Wachowski, and obviously Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow. Now some of you are like, yo, but that's just a character. But he's a character who happens to have locks. Now, is it dreads or is it locks? Is there a difference? I'll let you guys decide. This article is from CNN, and they said black hair is a touchy subject tied to beauty, identity, and politics. Whether it's afros and black power or cornrows and hip hop, hairstyles associated with African American culture can make a statement before their wearers say a word. So when whites choose a traditionally black hairstyle such as dreadlocks, it adds another layer of complexity to the issue. Take the latest case in point, a viral video showing a black woman calling out a white male student in San Francisco State University for his dreadlocks. The video touched off debate over whether dreadlocks on white people constitute cultural appropriation or appreciation. Is it cultural appropriation or cultural appreciation? Have you thought of it that way? Daniel Got Skills on Twitter said, okay Twitter, serious question. Was it ever that serious that now no one can wear dreadlocks unless you black? Would you say that this cultural appropriation or people wearing locks or people having a problem with other cultures wearing locks that aren't black has risen over time? Here's something to think about. Or has every single culture had some form of locks, whether you call them dreadlocks or locks, or dreads, whatever you want to call them, and now it's becoming more culturally associated to the black culture? Well, let's dig deeper. Speaking of the 40-second video, neither party responded to CNN's request for comment, so there's no way to tell what happened. Their conversation led to a physical confrontation that is being investigated by the university. The tense encounter focused on the origin of dreadlocks, which both parties seem to agree is Egypt. So we're saying that everything now comes from Egypt, which is pretty accurate. The woman contends that dreadlocks belong to my culture, and the man says it doesn't matter. I feel that both of the responses are kind of wrong, but also correct, because to her it does matter, and to him the hairstyle doesn't necessarily belong to that culture. Now look at this.
I looked at her and she said, sorry, we don't want people with your hair here. And I was like, wow, that's really rude. And I walked away from the situation. She then apparently followed me down 2 flights of stairs to approach me about this whole situation, and I tried to leave multiple times and she wouldn't let me. She kept grabbing me, pushing me back, trying to make her point or something. I didn't want to talk or discuss the situation with her at all. I felt that I didn't need to explain myself, my hair, my rules, my body. Someone within an activist group thought that she could attack me based on my locks, and that's not okay. It's not even part of the colored community's culture. Like, it may be ingrained in it, but it's ingrained in so many cultures other than that. It's an Egyptian culture, it's in Viking culture. You'll see in Victorian culture that there is information about them having dreadlocks too. Like, it's everywhere. It's not something that is just part of the colored community. When people wear Native American headdresses, I feel like that is cultural appropriation, because that is something that solely is within their culture that they use for power, and only people of high standing within that community can have headdresses, and that would be cultural appropriation. But someone having locks, which is found universally across the world, not just within African culture, but everywhere actually, that is not cultural appropriation in my view. The fact that I have locks does not mean that I'm trying to appropriate anyone's culture. It means that I love and respect their culture, and it's something that I hold true to myself. I feel like these differences are not something that separate us, but are something that should bring us closer together. Hair tangles naturally. It is something that naturally will happen.
Does that happen naturally to your hair?
No. I'm not saying that it did, but at the same time, it's something that I wanted it to happen. Like, it does naturally happen to other people. Their hair will naturally dread. So those people that naturally dreads, is it okay that they have it? Dreadlocks are tied to cultures, but at the same time, there's also instances of dreadlocks not being tied to cultures.
In what cases?
Well, she just mentioned the Irish, but it's also I'm sure that anyone that has had tangled hair in the past that didn't have access to combs probably had dreadlocks. Cavemen, I bet you had dreadlocks.
When you're coming from a place of privilege and you're taking an element of somebody's culture that symbolizes something.
It didn't symbolize anything for her. I bet you if you asked her directly what dreadlocks mean, she would not fully know.
Why do you say that?
Huh?
Why do you say that?
Because it's something that a lot of people don't know. There's a lot of research. It's something that, like, it's not something that is common within African American culture. Like, it's not something that all across the board you will see that they believe in, that they cherish, that they like. It's something that they wear on their head. Like, it's something that is their hairstyle. Like,
do you see it as a fashion statement and a hairstyle more so than a cultural icon?
I feel like it has both. I don't feel like it's one or the other. I feel like it has both. It can have some cultural ties, but it can also have like style ties. Just like a bindi, you know?
There's a lot in this video. Now, understanding this video coming from his perspective, he's pretty much offended at this point. So he's saying a lot of things that aren't really lining up. Because first he's saying that the locks don't belong to their culture. And then second, he's saying that he appreciates the culture. That's why he's wearing locks. He appreciates their culture. So those two contradict each other. Now, are dreadlocks African American culture? Absolutely not. Now, do people wear locks in African American culture? Of course. Do they wear it for multiple different reasons? Yes. Some people have a spiritual meaning behind their locks. Some people have a style meaning behind their locks. Some people have a religious meaning behind their locks. Everybody's locks are different, and everybody got them for different reasons. Locks are not specifically tied to a certain culture. Even the African American culture does not like when people call them dreads or dreadlocks, when the Rastafarian belief calls them dreadlocks. So the whole idea of locks and locks are not dreadful came from American belief. Dreadlocks are essentially entangled locks of hair achieved through various meanings of rolling hair. It's hard to tell who had them first because early humans lacking combs and styling products probably roamed the planet with matted hair. Historians and anthropologists have found evidence of this hairstyle in many different cultures, and the better question is who hasn't worn dreadlocks at one point or another? Bear in mind that the actual term dreadlock comes from the Rastafarian culture, which is widely credited with popularizing the look in Western culture. Rastafarians consider the locks a sign of the African identity and religious vow of their separation from what they call Babylon, a historically white European imperialist structure that has oppressed blacks and other people of color since way back when, according to migrations in history. Given dreadlocks' rich history, it's hard for one group to claim them. She said, sure, white people can wear locks. For some, they have religious or spiritual meaning. For others, it's just a hairstyle. So ultimately, I will let you guys decide. Is this cultural appropriation? Is this cultural appreciation? Or is this even a discussion at all? Me being half black and half white, have seen both sides of it. I personally just really like the hairstyle and have appreciated it ever since I was a young kid. Comment down your story below on how you got dreadlock. But other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.